Hello everyone, welcome to my live stream, my second live stream. Just wanted to wish everyone out there a happy new year. 2019 hopefully is going to be a very, very great year. So just also want to say thank you so much to all of the people that have supported me in the past in 2018 through my Patreon channel or page, my Patreon page, as well as purchasing my posters and a few T-shirts. You know, I haven't really sold a whole lot of T-shirts. I'd say that really only, like, I don't know, maybe feels like maybe a dozen T-shirts have sold. So kind of not the greatest seller in the world, but that's okay. I do appreciate everybody that that has purchased something from me. Anyway, so 2018 was a very, very interesting year. I had a lot of changes here in the shop. You guys have been along with some of the changes, and I've actually made a little note of some of the changes that I've made, as well as some of the videos that I've done. And by the way, as we move along in this video, in this live stream, I will be doing a few giveaways. I'm going to be giving away some posters and maybe a t-shirt or two, and I've got some tools in the back behind me. You can't really see them. You can kind of see them lined up there. I'm going to give away some tools as well that I've made throughout the year. Anyway, so in 2018, I had 22 videos that I put out. I put out a couple of Q&A videos early in the year. Number 3 and 4 went out, so I guess this is number 5. I did the dash light replacement. I introduced you guys to the Shark bike, and I will talk a little bit about the Shark bike in a few minutes. I had the BMW meditations and shop therapy video. That was a fun one to do. I did a long-term review on my table back here, and I know a lot of you guys commented on my done with Craftsman video. That video was all serious, and it completely changed my shop when it came to, you know, all the things that I do here in the shop. All the tools that I use. I have since gotten rid of almost all of my Craftsman tools, and even some of my other Craftsman things. It's like I'm just on a anti-Craftsman bandwagon, and I can't get rid of these things fast enough. I do still have a Craftsman vacuum that's over there in the corner that is working fine. I'm not going to get rid of that. It was like $30, so I'm not going to get rid of that thing. I use it to vacuum up these stink bugs that have been flying around here. I'm sure some of you guys, if you're in the U.S., have been, you know, you've had run-ins with these demonic stink bugs. They're horrible here in Illinois, and I know they're really, really bad out east. So anyways, going back to my list, I did a review of a Motoskivvy shirt. I introduced my Amazon page about 8 months ago, and that's been doing pretty well, I have to say. You know, you guys, some of you that have been looking at the Amazon page, you've been shopping off of it, not only just buying the products that are on the Amazon page, but you use it as your link to Amazon. So just so you know, if you do use that link and just shop the things that you would normally buy off of Amazon, I get a little bit of a commission, a little bit of kickback, and that's I really am grateful for you guys that have used that. The vessel screwdrivers versus the number 2 Phillips, as well as the 4-quart funnel and filter cutter video that I made. I did a review of aux beam driving lights. Those were kind of crazy. They didn't work at all for the LT, of course, but they were kind of cool, and I was able to give them to Doug, and he did another video on them as well. Did a worst front tire ever video, a shock and spring guide, so to help you be able to choose whether you want shocks and springs or both. I did the entire clutch series, the 3-part series on how to replace the clutch on an LT. That was a big one. That one took a lot of work and a lot of time. The MOA rally experience going out to Des Moines. I did my first ever live stream, as well as I was able, while I was at the MOA, I interviewed Jack Reapy, and that was really fun to do. Did a Duracell jump starter review, the Trailtech Voyager Pro GPS review, and I recently did, in fact my last video was a do-it-yourself do-it-yourself the electronic center stand on the LT, how to rebuild that. Now one note on that, actually more than one note on that EHCS rebuild. Some of the comments were they were criticisms of the way I did it, and rightful criticisms of the way I did it. A few people pointed out that cleanliness is next to godliness when it comes to rebuilding the hydraulic center stand, and that was not something that I was really doing. If you have already watched my video, you know that that's really not something that I was doing. Was, you know, making sure that the area was pristine and clean and everything was lined up perfectly. So yeah, I almost feel like I should redo the video. And if you guys are out there and you are thinking about redoing your own electronic center stand, make sure your environment is really, really clean. Also, one of the measurements were wrong in there, and I noted these things in the comments, but you want to refill the electronic center stand with at least 135 cc's, not 125 cc's of fluid. Otherwise, it won't work well in the cold. Excuse me. So yeah, I don't have a cough button on the live stream, so you guys are gonna have to endure some of that. So anyway, I see some of you guys have tuned in. You got a few people tuned in right now, and that's cool. I see Jose Antonio from it just says Buenos. I don't know if that's Buenos Aires or where you're at. KWE, KWB. I see you out there in Kirk, NRA. One Kirk to another. Hey, all right, another Kirk. I like that. Great to see you guys here. I appreciate you guys being here. So the Shark bike, what's going on with that? Well, the Shark bike is still here. It is not moved. Actually, since the last video that I did, I've really done nothing to it. I did start it to make sure that it still ran, and it does. It runs fine. It's just sitting out my door out here. It's out back, and I'm hoping to get to it this winter and be able to sell it in the spring. I think all of you guys know that it would be pretty much worthless to try to sell a motorcycle like that in the winter. That's going to be something that I take care of for the spring. And I got just a little bit more, you know, probably a lot more work to do on it, including getting off those damn stickers. I mean, they are hell to get rid of. I do have one of the panels over here that I took off. I'll move the camera and you can kind of see it over there. Just kind of next to the toolbox. It's up on the top there by that no trespassing sign. Yeah, I even drew a little. You can't really see it in the camera, but I drew a fin on there. Yeah, that's the Shark bike. And I still got to consider whether or not I'm going to do the clutch on there. I feel like the clutch, I'm really kind of torn on that thing. You know, it's not like it's an active leak where, you know, one of the seals is just pouring out oil and stuff and it's not wet underneath. It's all dried and crusted, and I just haven't decided. I just can't decide, to be honest, if I'm going to go through that hassle of redoing the clutch on a bike that's only got whatever 40,000 miles on it. I don't think it's going to need an actual clutch or clutch plate, but maybe the rear main seal. I'll know when I get it into the shop here and I start doing that. Some of the videos that I'm currently working on are, one, I have the throttle cables on the LT. That's going to be an up and coming video, and I'm hoping to be able to just get that thing edited out. I did all the filming back when I did it on my motorcycle, and it went fine. It's kind of a there's some aspects of it that are kind of a pain. Basically, both ends of the cable are a pain. Putting it on the handlebar and putting it on the throttle bodies, but it's certainly a doable thing. It's a DIY project, and it's something that you probably will have to do if you keep your LT for a while. Excuse me, if it especially if it winds up getting like kind of grinding or binding. That's what happened to mine. I was on a trip. I was on a camp out locally. I was only like 2.5 hours away, and I was going down the road as fast as the bike could go. Pretty much, I was really just hammering on the thing, and I went to let off, and it didn't want to slow down. I was able to get it to slow down. Obviously, I'm still here, but it was really nerve-wracking. And then when I started to inspect, hey, what is causing this binding? There was like a bird's nest of cable all piled up in the right at the end of the cable where it attaches to the handlebar. I cut that out of there, and it didn't make life any better at all. In fact, I felt like it made it worse. The bike was running basically at 5,000 RPMs at all times, so I couldn't run the bike. I had to tow it home and tow it back to the shop here, and then change that out. So that's why I made the video. Another thing that happened to my motorcycle was I had my Odyssey battery melt down on me. It was not cool at all. Back in October, I took a trip about 300 miles away, and when I got up there, I parked the bike for a couple days. I was staying at a friend's house, and when I went out to go start the bike again, it was dead. So I wound up putting it on a charger overnight, and while it sat in his garage overnight, the thing proceeded to melt down, and the charger never shut off or anything, and it seriously, it melted out the top. You could, if you go onto my Patreon page and you scroll through some of the posts, I think that you could probably see the post on there where the top started to get all wavy and melty. That wasn't cool at all. It stunk up his garage really bad. It was super smell like acid, just horrible. Not a good thing at all. So yeah, that wasn't good. But anyway, what else we got going on here? Well, there's nothing in the shop, as you can see behind me. I got zero when it comes to the stuff that there's no bike on the lift right now. I do have a bike coming in, I think next week, a K12 RS maybe. Maybe it's something a little bit earlier. Anyway, it's coming in here for some brake lines, so I'll determine whether or not I'll do a video on that. And I should be getting some other bikes in here coming up in the spring. Speaking of other bikes, I did have one that I did some videos on. I did a video on the what was it, the S1000 RR. That bike is a terror. Let me tell you guys, if you never had the opportunity to ride one of those demons, I'm not sure I even recommend that you do, because that thing is just hell on wheels, on two wheels. Unbelievable power, just arm straightening, crazy power. Oh gosh, that thing was nuts. Anyway, I did some work on it, and I had to go take it out for a test ride, and I did some it had some pulling issues, and I was able to figure that out, and some shifting issues. I got that kind of squared away too. So just made a video on that, and that'll come out eventually. It's nothing earth-shattering, but it does help some of the other BMW owners that are out there. Anyway, let's get on to some Q&A. I haven't answered any questions yet, so let's do some of that. So I got some lists here of things, and guys, if you're out there and you've got some questions, by all means, put them in the comments and put them in the chat feature on YouTube here, and I will, as soon as I see them, I'll take a look at them and answer them. So the guy was asking me if concerning the springs. He didn't know where he could get the springs. Where do I go to get them? I get them directly from what is it? EPM Performance. Yeah, EPMperformance.com, and I get them from Klaus. He, you know, I just buy them straight from there. Same place that most people buy them from. But you can buy them also from the other coast at beamershop.com. Yeah, that's the other place you can get the HyperPro springs. There's only a couple places here in the US. I know in the UK you guys get a lot of different you can get a lot more products for the BMW. Jason Ledbetter, I see you out there. Hello. Sorry about the coughing, guys. I'm trying to get over this little bit of a cold that I've had. My video where probably one of the best comments I've seen in a long time. My video on the bearing replacement in the front. I know a lot of you guys have commented on that and laughed with me at my tragedy of forgetting that spacer in there. He just wrote, ha 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 ha, I'm dead. I love it. Another one, Kirk, how can I contact you? You guys can contact me without any problem through either my email or, and that's, I hope it works. It hasn't worked in a while. The Curcuit Illinois BMW Riders.com. I think I've been having some issues with that because I haven't seen anything in a while. One way, though, that you definitely can get a hold of me is by going to Kirk's Motor Rod Shop and go to the contact page and just put something in the contact page. I will see that. That definitely does make it to me. One guy commented on why I'm done with Craftsman. Snap-on ratchets and wrenches are the way to go. Older USA Craftsman socket sets and wrenches are fine, and you can still find them on eBay, often new old stock. Current production Craftsman is junk. Yeah, that was from MH Law. Yeah, I fully agree with that. In fact, most of my shop now, I think, has been, my important tools have been redone in Snap-on. Whether I bought them used from eBay or I bought them right off the Snap-on truck. He does come here every once in a while, and I go into that wonderland, the chrome wonderland that is the Snap-on truck, and purchase a few things here and there. Let's see what else we got here. I didn't really go through all these before. One guy asked me what air compressor I'm using. So I have a very old air compressor. I'll show it to you guys. I'll show it to you. You probably won't be able to hear me because I'm going to step away from the microphone. But I'm going to show you I'll try to slow that down so I don't make anybody sick. Right over there. I certainly hope my air compressor does not turn on while we're in here, and if it does, I'm going to have to jump up and shut the thing off because it drives me crazy when it goes off. But that air compressor, I've had that thing pretty much, I don't know, since the early mid 90s. Had it for a long time. It's never had a problem with it other than maybe just having to tighten up the belts every once in a while. I did put synthetic oil in it. That compressor is super old. It actually dates back to like 1909, so it's over 100 years old. That the compressor that's on the top, not the tank, that's probably been replaced, but the compressor was from an old ice machine, and it runs pretty quiet. I mean, I can usually have a conversation in here if I'm on the phone. Generally, people don't know that the compressor's running, although I probably get louder anyway. Yeah, anyway, that's what I run as my compressor, and it works great for the tools that I use. I don't do a whole lot in the way of air tools here. Usually my compressor is just for the compressed air itself, you know, like a little blowgun, or using it to raise and lower my table. Oh, stinking thing. A lot of positive comments that I get on the headphones that are out, you know, for that little upgrade that I did on the headphones. So a lot of good comments on that. A lot of people that are very much happy with the results of replacing the speakers in the Cena. I think that was in the SMH10. Just real briefly, so if you guys, if you're using some of the later models, I'm not really sure about replacing the way that replacing those speakers work. What I've done with mine, I have the 20S now, and I use earphones constantly. That's really all I ever use. In fact, I've disconnected the speakers and are just using that exclusively. Just some questions on the NOCO charger. I asked him if it was okay to leave it connected. Of course it is. And some guy was asking me how the Emerald Isle paralever bushings that you can put on BMWs, how those were working. I haven't checked those in a while. In fact, when I do check them, I may check those this winter, pull the final drive off of there just to make a video and to show how good are those bearings holding up. I've probably put about, I'm just guessing here, but at least 20,000 miles, maybe up to 30,000 miles. I'll just have to check my records. Since I put those greasable bushings on there, and I'm hoping that they're going to be just fine. I was able to squeeze a little bit of grease into them. They are a little bit difficult to squeeze grease into, but I was able to get some grease into them, and they worked out okay. Anyway, so anybody have any questions out there? Anything that guy says that he recently bought his first BMW, a 2011 100 RT, planning a trip around Lake Superior in June. Hey, Kirk, that's a great trip. I've taken that trip myself, and going around Lake Superior, and those of you guys out there that can get to the Midwest and go around Lake Superior, I definitely would recommend it. It's really like going to a different world once you get up into Canada. You know, not only the towns and the signs and stuff are a little bit different, but you can really tell that you're not here in the U.S. when you're up in Canada. And my only recommendation is just take a look at those speed signs and make sure that you don't get caught speeding. I didn't, because I was running pretty close to the speed limit, but boy, they're really, really serious in Canada about you not speeding up there. You know, just gigantic fines. Anyway, I'd like to do a few, maybe at least a couple of giveaways. There's not a whole lot of people watching right now, and I think I will pick a few people at random from not only the chat comments here, but also the comments that show up probably within the first week of this video going live. Definitely not a whole lot of folks watching right now, but there'll be a few hundred, I'm sure. Peter Palmer out there, I see you're making a comment. Really enjoy the channel. Best wishes from abroad. Hey, all right. delivers. Is it possible to switch from a hydraulic center stand to a manual? Yes, yes, that one is possible. Going the other direction, you know, if you have a manual and you want to switch to a hydraulic center stand, I'm going to have to just go and just say no. No, you don't do that. There's no way that's going to work, because there's too much wiring. There's relays and wiring looms and fuses and everything else that's involved. That wouldn't work. But yeah, if you wanted to remove your hydraulic center stand and put a manual one on there, totally yes, you can do that. In fact, you could sell your hydraulic center stand for whatever it's gonna, you know, whatever it's gonna cost you to go to a manual center stand. So that's an easy swap. There are guys out there all over the place looking to buy those center stands. Peter, Dusseldorf, Germany. Hey, good to see you. Glad I'm reaching an international audience out here. Yeah, anyway, that center stand, I was able to source the motor for the hydraulic center stand, and you can find that on my Amazon page. All those links that I talk about, you know, the Amazon link, the Patreon link, the other ways if you wanted to purchase posters and things like that, they're all down in the description. That's right below, and you'll find them there. So, let me show you one of the things I got here. So some of the things, you know, if you guys choose to support me, some of the things that I do with that money, I'll buy some tools with that money. I was able to sell off all my Craftsman tools, so I had some money and I was able to buy different things. I was able to get rid of some toolboxes and get that really nice big blue toolbox over there, the one with all the telephones on it right now. Yeah. It's got all the antique phones on there right now. I'm gonna probably be listing on eBay. Anyway, but some of the other things that I have used the money for that you guys have helped me out with. One, I was able to buy this, not this camera. This camera is a very old camera, and I've had this one for a long time. But this gimbal, and you know, the way this thing works is, once it's on, you know, it will. This is for when I go live. You know, not when I go live, but when I go mobile. You know, so if I'm walking or whatever, it will maintain a straight profile, and you know, cuts down on the jittery camera and things. So I was able to purchase that. I used some of the money for this camera that I'm looking through right now, which is just it's a Logitech webcam. It's probably not the greatest resolution right now. I'm hoping the resolution is decent enough that you guys can all see that. But you can still see this little bit of a flicker every once in a while. This flicker is completely crazy to me. I am trying desperately to work that out, and it has to do with my computer, which is over there in the corner. I've got some issues with that computer, and by the time I do my next live stream, I'm hoping everything will be running at top-notch performance. This microphone is one of the things that I did purchase with the money, as well as my main camera here, this Canon GB, I think it's G40. This is my main camera that I use when I shoot my do-it-yourself videos and everything except for what you're looking at right now. So I got watching from Burley, Idaho. Thanks for help servicing 05 LT. Tim Campbell. Yeah, Tim, you're welcome. That's what I do these things for. And Peter Palmer, wonder how that BMW hype goes in the US. How about competition with Harley? You know, I don't know about their competition with Harley. I don't even know that there is if that's even a thing, to be honest, the competition, because the way that the hype of Harley works, especially here in the Midwest, where we're really close to the manufacturing plant up in Milwaukee, there's Harleys everywhere. So if we get, if somebody asks me, oh, hey, what do you do for fun, whatever, and I say, oh, I ride a bike, I ride a motorcycle, they automatically assume that it's a Harley, no matter what. It's always, oh, what kind of Harley you got? Oh, do you ride a flat tail or, No, I actually ride a motorcycle. I don't just pose. I'm not, posing to live and living to pose. I'm not afraid of riding in the rain. I don't hide underneath the bridge overpasses when it's raining or hailing or whatever. I make fun of them that way. And those guys, they do make me laugh, because it's like they all want to be individuals, but they all look the same. They all look like pirates. So, yeah, we do like to give the Harley riders a hard time. But there's some real riders out there, too. I'm not, I can't bash on them. I don't bash on them as hard as I bash on the Goldwing riders. Me and the Goldwings. Anyway, let me show you some other stuff here. So here's something I've been working on. This is the clutch holding bar, and you can see that, there we go. You can see there's a little K1200 on there. And here's this would be the centering tool, the clutch centering tool. These are some prototypes. They actually need to be adjusted just a little bit. I mean, if you had these, you just have to drill out the holes just a little bit bigger so that it fits in there properly. This thing doesn't need anything. This is right where it needs to be. And I'm going to give a couple of them away. Only because they were the prototypes, and you guys want one out there, just let me know, and I'll pick somebody from the comments, and you can get a hold of me through the contact form that's on kirksmotorrodshop.com, or Kirk's Motor Rod, not Kirk's Motor Rod Shop, just kirksmotorrod.com. And also, I'd like to give away, maybe I'll give away like 2 posters as well as maybe a t-shirt. One of these t-shirts, maybe whether it's blue or red. I mean, we'll go back and forth on the email if I pick you out. Peter is given a follow-up question here. One question about the brand. Is there still a made in Germany quality kind of hype about it? I don't know. That's a great question. I don't know if made in Germany is like the hype on the BMW brand. Probably not. It's still touted as a fine German motorcycle, but I don't know. That's a good question. I don't have a real good answer for that. Made in Germany, yeah, I don't know. I don't even know if that would matter. Although if it was made in like India or something, it would be, that wouldn't be a good thing. It'd be kind of a stigma to that. Or if it was made in China, that'd be even worse. I don't know. I don't ride a BMW because it's made in Germany. I ride it because I find it to be a interesting and quirky kind of motorcycle that not everybody has, and not everybody knows how to ride or cares to or work on. So to me, they're kind of like a high level interest. I'm not the type of person that will want anything that everyone else has. I mean, if everyone has a Harley like they do around here, I sure as hell don't want one. I'd rather have a BMW. I'd rather ride that LT, you know, if it, because really there's very few of those out there. Ultimately, though, I would like to move to a different, not a different brand, but a different motorcycle. I'd like to expand my K-bike experience a little bit. I'd like to get a K something else, like a K1300 or a K1600. Maybe in the GT variety. That would be what I really would like. The other Kirk that's out there says his other bike is a VTX, a Honda VTX, far less complex versus the BMW, and he looks forward to the challenge. Well, what challenge? The VTX would be you mean just riding it? Because man, the VTX is a beast. I think I've been on one of those, and they're monsters. Yeah, I don't know. The LT has been a real challenge, and you know, as you guys have seen in my videos, you know, you kind of start running out of the DIY stuff. Start kind of running out of ideas for what can I wrench on next, and that's another reason I'd like to get some more bikes through here, so I can show you guys, you know, kind of expand the audience a little bit. I'd like to get a GS in here and work on one of those. Do some real work on a GS. You know, just maintenance stuff. Maybe some of the RTs, get those through here, or some of the. I really want to get my hands on a new K1600 and do things like the valves and, you know, the other maintenance things such as the air filter and the gas filter, and things that will really help the audience, you guys out there, be able to keep your bikes out of the dealerships. And if there's any dealerships watching, well, that's just too bad, because I've never taken my bike to a dealership, and I hope never to have to. So anyway, that's pretty much where I'm at. Anybody else got any other questions? If not, I'm probably going to wrap this up, man. I know I've been on for, I don't even know how long I've been on for. Oh, since 6:30, so going on 40 minutes already. And hey, it's just me talking here. I just keep talking. Are you guys having any cocktails or anything? I mean, Happy New Year. Hope you guys are having a beer or something right now. A cup of coffee, anything. No other questions coming in. So guys, I'm going to wrap this up, and just want to say, oh, FYI, the Bears lost. Oh yeah, that's a shame. You know what? You were actually the one telling me that the Bears lost. I don't watch any football. Never have. This is my usual time that I'm up snowmobiling. Up north in the northern Wisconsin, riding my snowmobile. Can't do that right now because the snow conditions are absolutely horrid. They're horrid here too. It was, you know, near 45 degrees or something here today, and that's not conducive to snowmobiling. So anyway, I'm gonna wrap this up, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and do check out my links below. And if you want to, you know, pick something up for me, if you need something from me, if you got any questions, let me know. You can always get a hold of me through my contact page at kirksmotorrod.com. And I appreciate you all watching, and Happy New Year, everyone. Guys, I think my next one is coming out will be, I think, the throttle video. So Happy New Year. I'll see you on the next one.